Today, AYAWASO by-election goes wrong. No IMF bailout. NAM1 empire crumbling. Amnesty International slams digital tourism giants. Leaving Neverland documentary sparks controversy. Grateful for your time with us for news on DGN. I am Lady Polos and you're welcome to the update. Earlier today, news broke on the AYAWASO West Wuogon by-elections, which did not go as planned this morning after some persons from the national security operatives were alleged to have fired gunshots injuring 6 people at the La Baraleshi Presbyterian School, thus consequently led to the withdrawal of the National Democratic Congress from the elections. Meanwhile, allegations from the camps of the New Patriotic Party indicate that the National Democratic Congress is to blame for the chaos, says they were trying to scare people from voting, says John Boyadu, the General Secretary of the NPP. However, the national chairman of the NDC, Samuel Ofosu Ampofo, during the course of the chaos, alleged that the party's candidate, Mr. Delali Brempong, was basically being held hostage in the area. On the other hand, some police officials identify the men responsible for the gunshots as neither policemen nor soldiers. We bring you more details of the story in our subsequent stories. For our first story, President Akufo-Addo has given the biggest of assurances that Ghana would not go back to the International Monetary Fund, IMF, with a bowl in hand begging aid. If anything at all, he said it would be under a different government, but not under his watchful eyes. This was during the annual diplomatic New Year greeting ceremony at the Jubilee House Tuesday evening. It is time that the disarray in our public finances that has led us on 17 separate occasions beginning in the year of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah and the most recent one in March 2015 under President John Dramani Mahama be brought to an end so that we do not have to resort to the aid of IMF. We are determined not to go back to IMF tutelage again. We will manage our affairs properly. That is the true import of moving to a Ghana beyond aid, the president told the diplomatic community in Ghana. He gave them his word that his administration would make sure that the affairs of the nation are managed properly to avoid any form of retrogression, as he had been experienced in the past, hence pursuing policies that would cause Ghana to emerge as a modern, prosperous nation. The president noted with pride that the 2-decade-old chieftaincy crisis in Dabong, in the northern region of our country, which threatened the peace and stability of the area and of the nation, has now happily been brought to a resolution by the enskinment of a new overlord of Dabong, Yana Mahama Abukari II, an experienced, matured man who I am confident will succeed in promoting the reconciliation of the people of Dabong. This should be the habinger of accelerated growth and development for the area and our nation. The Ministry for Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, Shirley Ayoko Botre, observed that the year of 2019 will see her ministry working much closer with the diplomatic community in order to strengthen relations between their respective countries and Ghana. She assured the diplomats that the Foreign Ministry would leave no stone unturned in supporting their work and activities in Ghana. The empire of embattled proprietor of gold dealership company Men's Gold, Nana Appiah-Mensah, appears to be crumbling with the announcement by Xylophone Media to cease operation. Xylophone Media, operators of Xylophone FM and TV, says it's suspending operations indefinitely in compliance with an Accra High Court's order granted to the Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO, to secure all assets of Men's Gold and its chief executive officer, Nana Appiah-Mensah, popularly called NAM1. On Tuesday, January 29, 2019, EOCO issued a press statement announcing that it had been granted an order to secure all assets of NAM1. Some of the assets seized by EOCO are Men's Gold Office Complex, Xylophone Art Complex, Brew Marketing Consult, Xylophone Music and Media Company Limited, Brew Energy Company Limited. The order to secure all the assets is due to Men's Gold's inability to pay its customers, who are reportedly numbering about 46,000. The Men's Gold boss is already cooling off in detention in Dubai over a similar gold deal that had gone bad. Some of his clients back home in Ghana are agitating for the payment of their locked-up investments. The company is said to be owing its clients about $42 million after it succeeded in having them to invest in its gold collectibles trade, with the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) raised concerns over Men's Gold alleged illegal deposit taking in gross violation of the Bank and Specialized Deposit Taking Act. In a statement following the announcement of the court order, management of Xylophone Media explained that they will be suspending operations effective January 30th, 2019. The statement signed by Xylophone Media Communications Manager Samuel Barr says, being a law-abiding entity, we expect that due process be facilitated to restore sanity. It adds that management of the station is grateful to all for the love and support shown us throughout the 13 months of operations as a broadcast firm. Xylophone Media and Music, a subsidiary of Men's Gold, which is owned by Namwan, who's under arrest in Dubai over $51 million alleged fraudulent gold deal with an Emirati firm, emerged onto the entertainment industry in Ghana in a surprisingly rapid manner, signing some big music artists like Shatta Wale,
officially and with all authority come out to say that from today, the business of Shatta Wale is the business of Xylophone Media.
Stoneboy, among others. It also succeeded in baiting some top journalists and show hosts with juicy cash rewards to have them join its fold. But within less than 2 years of operations, the station is apparently set for collapse. Reggae artist and host of popular taxi driver show Xylophone FM, Black Rasta was the first to drop the hint of the crisis at Xylophone when announced his exit with his final show on Tuesday. We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned.
I got some money, but I ain't giving it to you. I got some money, but I ain't giving it to you. Ora tachelete, mata helete. Ora tachelete.
There is nothing as hard as a diamond. For buildings with superior strength that withstand all weather conditions, Diamond Cement should be your preferred choice. Locate Diamond Cement nationwide with factories in Aflao, Takrady and Bupe. Diamond Cement, as hard as a diamond.
Digital tourism giants Airbnb, Booking.com, Expedia and TripAdvisor are apparently profiting from war crimes by offering services in illegal Israeli settlements, reports said on Wednesday. This came into light after Amnesty International's destination occupation study called on the companies to stop listing tourist information such as accommodation, activities and attractions in settlements in the occupied territories. They are doing so despite knowing that Israel's occupation of the West Bank, including East Jerusalem, is governed by international humanitarian law under which Israeli settlements are deemed illegal, said a report from Amnesty. In doing business with settlements, all four companies are contributing to and profiting from the maintenance, development and expansion of illegal settlements, which amount to war crimes under international criminal law. It is supposed that by advertising such tourist details, these firms appear to be normalizing settlements in the West Bank and East Jerusalem. To boost bookings, many listings and settlements have boasted of their proximity to areas of natural beauty, such as the Dead Sea, nature reserves, and the desert, all in which are in the occupied areas. So before we go on, you may perhaps be wondering where this conflict stems from. To put simply, Israeli Jews and the Palestinian Arabs both want the same land. Israel, being the world's only Jewish state, is located just east of the Mediterranean Sea. Palestinians, the Arab population that hails from the land that Israel now controls, refer to the territory as Palestine, and want to establish a state by that name on all or part of the same land. Although both Jews and Arab Muslims date their claims to the land back a couple thousand years, the current political conflict actually began in the earlier 20th century. Firstly, Jews were fleeing persecution in Europe and wanted to establish a national homeland in what was then an Arab and Muslim majority territory in the Ottoman and later British Empire. Arabs resisted seeing the land as theirs, and despite the United Nations intervention to give each group part of the land, efforts have failed. On the flip side, on Twitter, Israeli Cabinet Minister Gilad Erdan called the Amnesty statement an outrageous attempt to distort facts, deny Jewish heritage, and delegitimize Israel. In addition to this, the World Jewish Congress, on the other hand, on this matter said it was disheartened by the report and called on Amnesty to shift its focus back to human rights. Amnesty International is a serious and respected human rights organization whose work to stop abuses around the world should never be underrated. But its singular focus on corporate entities doing business in Israeli settlements is gravely misguided, the executive vice president Robert Singer said. If Amnesty wishes to involve itself in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, it should not center its attention on the real human rights abuses ongoing in Palestinian territories and not attack corporate businesses who strive to bridge divides and build peace through global tourism and interaction. It saw that Amnesty was on a self-righteous crusade rather than focusing on sensitivity of the matter and the real human rights issues that are ongoing. As a result of this, however, Airbnb announced it would remove all listings in Israeli settlements in the West Bank. The West Bank, which is a chunk of land east of Israel, home to nearly 3 million Palestinians. The move was decried by Israel and praised by advocates of Palestinian rights when it was announced. Amnesty, however, still criticized the fact Airbnb did not extend that decision to East Jerusalem. In response, the Jewish human rights organization Simon Wiesenthal Center placed Airbnb on its end-of-year list of the top 10 worst global anti-Semitic incidents in light of its decision. Even in death, the legacy of one of the world's biggest icons is still in question. A new documentary about the life of the king of pop, Michael Jackson, has not hit theaters yet but has sparked so much controversy. HBO's forthcoming documentary Leaving Neverland explores disturbing accusations by James Safechuck and Wade Robson that Michael Jackson sexually abused them over a period of several years when they were children. The documentary, which was screened at the Sundance Film Festival last week, has revived conversation about whether Michael Jackson was a predatory pedophile. A statement released on Monday by the Jackson family reads, "Michael always turned the other cheek, and we have always turned the other cheek when people have gone after members of our family. That is the Jackson way. But we can't just stand by while this public lynching goes on, and the vulture tweeters and others who never met Michael go after him." So Robson, who's now 36, first met Jackson when he was about 5 years old in his native Australia. He said he stayed with Jackson at his Neverland ranch in California on several occasions. At the age of 10, Safechuck, now 40, appeared in a Pepsi commercial with Jackson and said he was also a frequent visitor to the singer's home. What's interesting is that both accusers formally defended Jackson against other allegations of child abuse, but have currently filed suits. Robson filed in 2013 and Safechuck in 2014 against the singer's estate with abuse allegations of their own. Jackson's estate, however, denied the accusations. Their cases were initially dismissed but reportedly remain under appeal. "I never forgot one moment of what Michael did to me, but I was psychologically and emotionally completely unable and unwilling to understand that it was sexual abuse," Robson said during an appearance on the Today Show after he filed suit in 2013. Wade Robson went further to call the late pop king a pedophile. On Sunday, Leaving Neverland director Dan Reed responded to an earlier statement from Jackson's estate which stated, "The film takes uncorroborated allegations that supposedly happened 20 years ago and treats them as fact. These claims were the basis of lawsuits filed by these two admitted liars, which were ultimately dismissed by a judge." In his response, Reed said, "It's pretty much what you expect them to say. They obviously haven't seen it, and I'm not engaging with the substance of what they're saying." Jackson was previously the subject of two high-profile abuse cases. In 1993, a then 13-year-old boy accused Jackson of sexually molesting him repeatedly over a 5-month period. The boy said that Jackson bathed with him, shared a bed with him, gave him gifts, and fondled him. Jackson paid approximately $25 million to settle a civil suit by that alleged victim in 2004. In 2003, Jackson was charged with 7 counts of child molestation for allegations from a cancer-stricken boy invited to the singer's home. Jackson, who repeatedly denied the allegations, was acquitted of those charges. He died in 2009 from an overdose of propofol. Fans and critics who saw the 4-hour screening described it as devastating. Many tweeted about how appalling they found these revelations. Nonetheless, fans of NJ have jumped to his defense. "Michael Jackson fans are heavily educated on all allegation cases. We're not apologists or blindly supporting him," one person tweeted. "We're going out of our way to support an innocent man who isn't here to defend himself, in an era where falsified victim claims seem to be rendered non-existent." So that'll be all for today's update, but do well to visit our website at dailyguyNetwork.com for more news. Or follow us on social media via Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at the Daily Guy Network for more news from around the world. And while you're online, don't forget you can also get interactive with me at Lady Pulos on Instagram. The update was brought to you by Diamond Cement, Powered by Press Express and clothed by Casa. This has been Lady Pulos. Have a great day.